Murder, She Watched contains adult themes and adult language. Listener discretion is advised. Murder, She Watched is for entertainment purposes only. Fancy, right? Scary.
Yeah.
Hi, guys. Welcome to Murder, She Watched, the podcast where we solve murders from our couches. My name is Amye Archer. I'm your host. I'm here today with returning champion, Tess Brigham. Hi, Tess.
Hi.
How are you?
Hello. I'm good. You know, I love sitting around watching murder shows. And
I mean, don't we all? Like, you're a therapist. Tell me,
yeah.
why do you think we love it so much?
Well, I think obviously, more women. And I think part of it is because all these things happen to us. So there's that, and it's so out of control. This is the one way that we can control it is to decide, right?
To educate ourselves.
Yeah. And, but again, I don't know how much that saves people in the end or not,
Right.
But I think it does give us a false sense of that I do have some control over these things. But yeah, I think at the most basic core, right? Like if you're someone who is an honest person who doesn't murder people, that isn't manipulative, like you're just kind of living your life. I think that when we see these people, we're kind of like, who, what, huh? How do you fit that all in?
How do you end up here?
Yeah. How did you end up here? How did this all happen? And then the other parts of like the BTK killer and stuff, it's like, and then you went home at night and like,
I know,
sat and had dinner with everybody, and how crazy that is. And how, how do you even make sense of that?
There's a BTK killer documentary coming out.
Yes.
That Kyla and I are going to cover. And it's like by his daughter, which we've heard from his daughter before, but it's kind of wild. Wasn't his daughter? I think his daughter was in the Rex Humerman documentary, kind of giving some advice to Rex Humerman's kids.
Oh, probably. Yeah. I know,
because Rex Humerman, same thing, like lived a double life for how many years? Out killing and home for dinner.
Yeah. But I think he had, and again, I'm very curious about the BTK because, right, we know about Rex. We know like the home life was a little odd. Here was this architect living in this weird house, and I think that's the other part of it too, which is we meet people, but we really don't know people as well as I think we know people. Like we meet people, and it's like, no, I only know you in this context. I have really no idea what And I think Rex is a great example of that. You see him in an office at work, you'd see one thing, and then, oh my God, he's living in this house that's falling apart.
And it used to be that people would be like, oh, well, of course it's that neighbor on the block who's the serial killer. But I can imagine a professional setting.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. The neighborhood all knew that something was
right.
Up.
The neighborhood was like, oh, of course.
Of course. It's
check that house. Yeah.
But yeah, what if you hired him as your architect?
Right.
And you're like, okay.
And then you barely escaped death and you didn't even know it.
Yeah. Yeah. My sister had one of those things once where she talked about like when she was a criminal attorney, like she had some incident. This was a long time ago where a guy came to her office and they had this conversation and he wanted to hire her. And then the next thing she found out was that he just like left there and I think robbed a bank or
my goodness.
I can't remember what the thing was, that he attempted murder. I mean, he went off and just committed a crime. And it was one of those things where like, wait a second, we were just having this conversation and it was like, well, see ya.
Yeah. Gotta go out and crime.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so I think that's the stuff that keeps us fascinated.
So in terms of this documentary, which is Death in Apartment 603, What Happened to Ellen Greenberg, what did you think?
I liked it.
Thoughts.
Overall. Sorry, I feel like I have something in my eye. I liked it. Again, could have been 2 parts. It really could have been
parts.
Because this is what drives me crazy. It's like, we don't need to hear that Ellen didn't like her job from 15 different people. Like we didn't.
Correct.
Like, I got it.
Texts. We saw how Sam responded, which was not great.
Yes. And I want to talk about that because that was indication number 1. When I saw some of those text messages, I was like, okay. Interesting. Yeah.
And I agree with you. Now, one thing I do have to say is I thought this documentary gave us a little more insight into the parents than we normally get in terms of I loved how I didn't love it, but I
Mhm.
appreciated how honest they were talking about how their marriage struggled
Yes,
after
yes.
this, which,
Mhm.
I'm sure I don't have a statistic for this, but I'm sure that marriages do struggle
Yeah.
under the pressure of losing a child,
Yep.
especially I can imagine if it's your only child.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
mean,
yeah,
yeah.
so I thought that was great, that part, but we didn't need all of the family stuff. Like it
No.
wasn't as well balanced as it could have been. And
Mm.
when I say it could have been 2 episodes, if each of those episodes were, I don't know, 50 to 55 minutes, gee, Tess, that sounds like a 2-hour documentary to me.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
used to have.
No, and that's plenty. And again, I think that I don't know if these filmmakers feel like, okay, they're going to let me do 3 parts, so I'm going to do 3 parts, or
Yeah.
if it's the family members where they feel like we need to keep talking about how great Ellen was and how wonderful she was and how all these people loved her so
Mhm.
much. I understand that you don't want the story just to be about this murder, but this is why we're here.
Yeah, and we
And
do wanna hear some from the parents,
mhm,
obviously, but you're right, like, not too much, and if you're gonna have 3 episodes, give us an arc. Like, make
mhm.
episode 1 is, the incident, episode 2 is the investigation, episode 3 is the fallout. I don't know. I feel like
Yeah.
sometimes they don't do that, they just intersperse parts everywhere, and there's not a clear delineation of the events happening in each episode.
Yes. Well, and they do that annoying thing where they show us, just like with Sister Wives, they show us what they're about to show us.
Mhm, mhm.
And that always drives me crazy because I'm always like, I'm confused. Fast forward, fast forward. It's very jarring. But the other thing about this one that kind of bugged me was we did not spend enough time on Sam. Like,
I know
hello.
nothing about Sam. In fact, I'm gonna be doing a follow-up episode. If you're a member of Murder Club on our Patreon or Apple subscriptions, I'm gonna do a whole follow-up episode on what I know about Sam because
Okay.
there's nothing in this
Yes.
documentary.
Nothing. And he's our prime, sorry, spoiler alert. He's our prime suspect. So we know nothing about Sam or Sam's family or
Mhm,
what's going on
mhm.
with Sam. There are some things that they didn't really explain to us about their relationship, which really wanted to kind of like, let's get into their relationship that I think
Yes.
her friends would know more than her parents would
Yeah,
know. So I understand talking to them.
yeah.
And then the other thing too was they never really told us, it was almost like, yeah, they really bungled this, but we don't know what. I mean, Karen Reed, it was very clear, like there was a conspiracy and this is why this person did this. This is a little bit like, why would what, is this
Well,
just incompetence
that's what I
or,
kept saying. I kept
yeah.
saying, "Who is this Sam person?" And I think, and we'll talk about it,
Hmm.
that we need to keep our eyes on that uncle because
Yes.
he is
Yes.
a high-powered attorney, and I think he's a judge in
Got
Philly.
it. Got it.
So I
And
think we need to keep our eyes on him.
so that was the whole thing, and I understand maybe they didn't wanna indicate like, they didn't want to go there in the documentary, but are you saying that Sam has enough juice that he could get this squashed and make it a suicide versus a homicide? Like, what is happening here? And even if you're inferring it, like, allegedly,
Mhm.
just what is this what you're thinking?
So one of the things that I wanna start doing when docs that I cover is, like, superstar of the documentary. So,
Mhm.
you have, like, the people who really do great things and, they're usually the superstar, like, the person
Yeah.
who leads to the capture of the blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say we have 2 superstars in this documentary. One is the doorman, Phil,
Yes. That's exactly
who's
what I
like,
was
"You're
gonna
not
say, I
fucking
love
lying
him.
on me."
Yeah.
And the second one is this random dude who looks like Sean Penn's character in Dazed and Confused, who's like, "I currently work with Sam, and we're all terrified of him because he could have committed this murder." And I'm like, "Is this a former coworker?" And I rewound it, and no, this guy works with him currently. And he's like, "I don't know if he did it or not, but some people think he might have, and they're afraid of him." And I'm like, "That's a baller move to get on
Yeah.
camera and talk about somebody you currently work with." Now, if I misunderstood that, please let me know. But from my interpretation, they work together currently.
Mhm.
And he's like, "No, no, this guy might be a murderer."
Well, and so, like, I don't even remember that,
Yeah,
so
I'll
it
get to
must
it.
have been so fast and so quick that,
It
like,
was very fast. It
but
was a Spicoli. Was that his character? No,
yes,
Was Sean Penn in Dazed and
yeah,
Confused?
no, 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 Sean Penn, this is Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Thank you. That's
You're
what I'm
getting
thinking
you're
of.
getting the eras mixed
I'm
up.
getting Matthew McConaughey
Yeah.
and
Sean Penn.
Sean Penn, confused. I'm sorry. He had a Spicoli vibe.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
But I don't remember that scene. So that shows you that was one moment, like I must have looked away for a second and that happened.
Yeah.
And yet I, know way too much about some other things like the building and, other stuff I didn't need to know about.
All right. I have 10 pages of notes, so we got to get into this.
All
okay.
Right.
So Ellen, first of all, they never explicitly said this up front. I'm a big person I take a lot of notes on the first episode because I believe it's table setting.
Mm-hmm.
We should have known that Ellen Greenberg was 26 right up top, but we didn't. I had to look for that information.
Okay.
We open with the 911 call, which I have on my soundboard, and we're going to play later because I want to go into that with you. That they have found his fiance dead in their locked Manayunk apartment. So this is a Philly neighborhood. It's in North Philly. January 2011 is when this happens, and very similar to Sandra Birchmore. It's like there's a nor'easter. This girl's a teacher. It's a supposed suicide that's really not. Like, this case is very similar to Sandra Birchmore. It was kind of weird. All right, so we meet Sandee. She is Ellen's mom, and she says Ellen was an only child, and best friend Allison says Ellen was gorgeous. She lit up a room, all the normal accolades.
Yes.
They did go to Penn State, which so did I, so I appreciated that. They moved to Philly as young adults. They're like doing the normal thing, going out partying. She's a first grade teacher now. She is teaching in an inner city school, which is hard fucking work.
Yes.
And
I do not think her job was easy. Yeah.
No. So January 2011, the week of January 26th, I'm sorry, there's a nor'easter. She is at this point 3 years into her relationship with Sam, and they are engaged. Okay. Ellen, like I said, first grade teacher, getting out early. Later in the day, friends try to reach her and they can't find her at all. So now we meet Phil, number one superstar of the documentary. He is the concierge of the building. He says, Sam came down to me. He was very upset. He said Ellen had gotten home early and he was locked out of the unit. Phil says, I tried calling her. She didn't answer, but I can't leave my station. Now, have you ever lived in a building with a super or any, or
not
a concierge
really?
Or anything?
No.
I haven't either. So I'm not aware of this protocol, but Phil makes it sound like it is a pretty hard rule that you cannot leave. And it reminds me of the Jinx remember when she went to New York and the doorman wasn't there, or the doorman said he saw her. There's a whole doorman thing when she goes to New York about what time she got there. His first wife, Kathleen Durst.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All comes back to Robert Durst.
It does.
Yeah, it does. That little guy. So Mark and his girlfriend at the time were in apartment 602. They're a neighbor. They could hear Sam talking, pounding on the door. And I wanted your interpretation on this because Mark goes, we just figured they were fighting. So I'm wondering, does that tell us they fight a lot?
I thought that was very telling. It was also a little bit like, you're right there. You don't, like, apartment living, right? Anybody who's lived in an apartment, you have to be pretty mindful about how much you're banging. So it shows you something like these two apparently did not care about the noise, but that Mark didn't want to come out and confront Sam.
No.
Because I think I would be a little bit like, hello, you need to, we're all in this together here, but they didn't want to talk to him.
Like, I lived in apartments most of my life when I was a young person. And I remember I had this couple next to me who were pretty quiet. And the one time I heard like a commotion and it caused an alarm because I never heard commotion over there. And it turns out one of their dogs passed away in the apartment and they were, freaking out or whatever. It was really sad. But like, then I had neighbors in my one apartment who fought all the time. And like, the building could be on fire and I probably would have learned to ignore it because they fought all the time. So the casualness with which Mark says, I just figured they were fighting. I was like, okay, this is a common occurrence. Yep.
Yeah.
So, all right. So he goes back to Phil and he says, I need to get in the fucking unit. I'm just going to go knock the door down. Sam now calls 911 and he says he went down to work out. Now, instead of saying, Tess, you come home, you find your husband brutally murdered. You call 911. What is the first thing you say?
Oh my God. Someone hurt there's blood everywhere. Someone murdered my husband. Or he fell or something happened.
Like not that. This guy. I'm going to play it for you. Okay. because I feel like it's going to come up a couple times, so we need to hear it. Here's the 911 call, guys. It is a little intense, so just a warning if you want to jump ahead.
Philadelphia Fire Department 842.
Please hurry.
What's wrong?
I went downstairs to go work out. I came back up. The door was latched. My fiance's inside. She wasn't answering. So after about a half hour, I decided to break it down. I see her now just on the floor with blood. She's not responding.
Okay, is she breathing? Look at her chest. I need you to calm down, and I need you to look at her chest. It's really.
I really don't think she is.
Listen to me. Someone's on the way. Look at her chest. Is she flat on her back?
She's on her back. So I pray her.
Look at her chest and tell me if it's going up and down, up and down.
I don't see her moving.
Okay, do you know how to do CPR?
I don't.
Okay, I can tell you what to do, okay, until they get there. I want you to keep her flat on her.
God.
Hello?
Yeah, hi, okay.
Are you willing to do CPR with me over the phone so they can...
I have to, right?
Okay, so get her flat on her back, bare her chest, okay? You want to rip her shirt off.
Oh, shit.
Okay, you need to kneel down by her side.
Oh, my God. Ellie, please.
Listen, you can't freak out, sir, because you
Okay, I'm trying not to. Her shirt won't come off. It's a zipper. Oh, my God. She stabbed herself.
Where?
She found a knife. Oh, no, her knife's sticking out.
Okay. So a couple things.
Lot to unpack.
First of all, it's this whole... So I got on my car and I went to the gym and then I came home and then I knocked on the door and then I saw Joe next door and I went over for a cookie and then I had this and then I did and then I found my girlfriend dead. Can you send someone?
Mm-hmm.
That was weird to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's always so hard, right? Because you don't know how are you going to react, and I can understand adding some of these weird things. There's a lot of over explaining and all of that. What I don't understand is that she, he's answering questions like, well, is she breathing? Is this happening? Is that happening? This knife, I'm sorry, it's not hidden.
Right out there. No.
It is the first thing that you're going to see. And he talks about how, oh my God, she has a zipper. I'm like, yeah, but she was stabbed in the thing. I mean, it wasn't like it was hidden. Like he opened up her jacket and then, oh my God. I mean, so that's very, very weird. That's very weird. And that your mind would go to that place. I thought he had said in the 911, oh, she hurt herself or she killed. I thought he said like she committed suicide
herself,
but she stabbed herself. And I think that is truly such, very interesting, because is that what anyone would think?
Right. He doesn't say, oh my God, she stabbed.
Yeah.
Or, oh my God, there's a knife sticking out of her chest.
Yes.
She stabbed herself in the heart. And then he goes, she fell on the knife. Now I need to look at this again. I'll have to rewatch this, because what I'm interested to know is which way was the handle, and is she left-handed or right-handed?
Mm-hmm.
Because she would probably, if you're right-handed, you would stab across.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I would need to know like all of that, how the handle was placed. I don't know. Anyway, so that's the 911 call. Okay. So Sam left at Guy D'Andrea, we meet, and he's a former homicide detective assistant DA. I love this guy. He was great. He says Sam left at 4:50, and per Sam, Ellen is alive and well when he leaves. He's gone to the gym for 38 to 40 minutes. He then goes back, finds the apartment latched. Banging on the door, we see the terrible text that he's sending her for like an hour, which we get this 2 or 3 times. Even the 911 call, they play it 2 or 3 times throughout the documentary. Ellen is found slouched against the kitchen cabinets. There's blood everywhere. There's a knife sticking out of her chest. 6:40 p.m. Detectives are there. Mark, the neighbor, says he hears Sam talking to the police. Again, Mark, get the fuck outside of your apartment and get some real gossip here. What are you doing? Like just kind of in your apartment listening? And he hears them say, or Mark hears Sam tell them, the police, that Ellen has mental health issues and she is on medication. And they ruled a suicide on the scene.
Yeah.
Sam's father calls Ellen's parents, tells them what happens. And I always hate this part in documentaries. I can almost never watch. And they do this in almost every documentary where they have to show us the family hearing about it. It's tough.
Yeah.
So now we go back in time to June 2010. It's 6 months earlier, and they're planning their wedding. And cousin Debbie says, I went shopping with her in December and she wasn't herself. So now we start to get this narrative
Mm-hmm.
that things have changed around November, December.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And everybody seems to agree on that. But we don't know what it was. We know that
Yeah.
she really struggled with her job, like really, really struggled with it to the point where she is sending Sam a text that says, I hate every second of work. I don't know why. And he wrote, get it together and do it or focus on finding something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, ooh,
I
because
mean, my
yeah,
husband's kind of a hard ass. Like he's like a walk it off person. He would never say something like this to me.
no.
It's wild.
Well, this whole thing just made no sense to me because what I was under so there's something else that they say and that they don't ever follow up with is, she used to be the kind of girl that would shop at Nordstrom's, but now she's shopping at Neiman's. So they made this sort of indication that she was spending a lot of money. She had more money. And I'm like, so does Sam have money? This was the whole thing. I was so confused
There
about
wasn't a
this
lot.
financial part of this and
Why
that
bring it up if it doesn't matter, right? Like, why bring it up if you're not going to give us all the details?
yeah, but the other part of it too is so then it's kind of confusing. It's like if we understood who Sam was, and I think that message tells us a lot about Sam, but it would be nice to get some context. Like, is this guy have a bunch of money but he's such an that he's not willing to say, hey, listen, I'll support you. We're about to be married in a year or something like that. I mean, just the whole thing seems so odd to me about, right, what was the financial you don't remember them talking about how she started shopping and she
I did
started
remember
upgrading
that, but I
things and then
didn't
it
even
just went
like
away.
it didn't even register, right? Because
Yeah.
it just went away. I think Sam had money. I mean, I think he had a decent job with the Golf Channel where he traveled a lot,
Yeah.
but just, his uncle's super connected and well off. So like he could come from money, maybe.
hmm
I don't
Yeah.
know. We
And
don't know because we know nothing about Sam.
yeah. And that was
Yeah.
part of it. It was like, I would like to know something about this man so I can understand, what it means when he texts her that. But yeah, he's a dick. I mean, I
Right.
don't know
Like
how else to say it.
and what did her friends think of how
Yes.
he was treating her? Like, we don't get a lot of that either.
And I wonder, this is the part that I wonder is were the filmmakers afraid of Sam and Sam's powerful family suing them?
Maybe.
So
Maybe.
they were like, we're not going to say anything about this guy.
Then don't do the documentary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a little tough love there from editor Amy Archer.
But you're right. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. I mean, if the whole thing's about this family that's trying to get to the truth, then yeah.
Or
I
give
mean,
us enough information about Sam that is public
mhm.
that you're not making, you know what I mean, that anybody could find.
But also, I mean, so I would have another friend indicated that she was getting married and she was talking a lot about her marriage and but Sam Ellen wasn't talking so much about what's going on with them. And so there was never like this through line of, and that's weird because she usually would tell me everything.
Yes.
So that made me
Yes.
think that maybe she's having issues with Sam, like something. Like explain to me your thinking.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Oh.
I agree. One thing that was really sad is she was very stressed out about grades before the third quarter or whatever.
Yeah.
And Bruce Stern, who was the principal or her boss at work,
Yeah.
he was also the father-in-law of Allison Stern, who's her best friend. And he called Allison. He was like, your best friend is like really worked up here. I
Yeah.
mean, something's not right. And Allison was on the phone with him and Ellen called her on the other line and she didn't answer. And that would have
Yeah.
been the last phone call, which was
Yeah.
really sad because
Yeah.
they were best friends for their whole lives. So
Yeah.
that's an incredible friendship. So we also meet this woman, Donna Giacone. She's with the Philadelphia CSI for 22 years. She gives us like 2 sentences and then we never see her again. Okay. She says there was a lot of surveillance footage and cameras around the building. Okay.
Yes.
So now we meet this building manager and she was great because she said she actually videotaped the crime scene because Sam's uncle, put a pin in him, called and wanted to retrieve something from the apartment for the funeral. So this is like the next day, maybe the day after. And she had the wherewithal to know to film this because she didn't. So two things. She wanted to have the apartment cleaned up because she didn't want the family to see it and be really, really upset. So she did call the police and say, is it okay if I get these CSI cleanup crew to come over? Which I was explaining this to my mother. She's like, there's a CSI cleanup crew. I'm like, yeah, you have to pay them, but yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but she also knew, like, I don't want to be responsible for like anything missing or anything. So I'm going to videotape everything.
Yeah.
Super smart.
Yeah. Oh no, she's been managing buildings for a long time. She's been down this road. She knows.
Yep. And so he comes in and she remembers blueberries on the counter, knives in the sink. And she says she saw a laptop and she saw the engagement ring, and the uncle takes the laptop. And that's a problem.
Yeah.
The cleanup crew, they have like hazmat suits on. They clean it all up. So all the evidence is gone.
Yep.
Gone. The manager, she stayed with them. She said she saw with her own eyes Sam's uncle take the laptop. So that's good. And now none of her friends believe. Wait, what do I have? This was not a crime scene. So nothing was preserved. Now we find out all of Ellen's electronic friends. Okay. So none of Ellen's friends believe this is a suicide. They are all like, and again, as a therapist, you probably caution against this too. Like, we don't know what suicidal people look like.
Yeah.
And I hate when we say that kind of stuff, but I get it. I get why people say that.
Yeah. And they did have an expert that came on and said, these things aren't usually planned, that they can be, that they can be, and they are usually. That's much, I would just want to say, I think that's across the board, but it's usually these things will happen quickly if you're drinking. So we don't know if she's been drinking or using anything, and or if you're under a certain age. Like, young people don't think it through, and if you're impaired in some way, shape, or form. But I have never, ever, ever known or heard of a woman that stabbed herself as a way of suicide. Like, she would have OD'd on pills.
Women,
like, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, women generally use nonviolent methods.
Yes.
Absolutely. So we meet Dr. DeMichelle Dupree, and she is a forensic pathologist and a former medical examiner, and she does high profile cases and second opinions. And she says the medical examiner should examine the body at the scene and determine if they should make a decision or not. She says this medical examiner fucked up because they took Sam's word for it, essentially, as to what happened.
Yeah.
So we find out later that, like, the report leaving the scene from the detectives that goes to the ME who makes this determination, there's an error in it. And that is critical here. So Dr. Dupree does not think this is a good investigation. She says there's not even pictures of half the wounds, including the, ready for it, Tess? 12 stab wounds on her back.
Yes. And this is the part that I still don't understand. They did not explain to us, like, how do you explain that away? How do you explain how? Because usually on these documentaries, I thought we were going to get a whole thing of someone trying to, like, put a knife, like, if you're this tall and
like,
she's this big.
Where's David Rudolph and Ron and the whole gang, like, reenacting Kathleen Peterson's death?
Exactly. But we got none of that. None of it. And it's indicated, but it's never really, like, no one's ever saying she was stabbed in the back.
No. Now, this is really important. When the body is taken to Marlon Osborne, the ME, he rules it a homicide. So January 20, that's like the next day, or that day, later that day. January 28th, 2011, it's 2 days later. She's Jewish, so she's buried quickly. And by all accounts, Sam is very distraught and wailing at the funeral. And this is wild because while they're at the funeral, they hear the news that this has now been switched to a homicide. And, like, Josh, her father, announces it to the entire gathering of people. Could you imagine if you're Sam and, like, you think you allegedly, you think you get away with murder, and then they're like, guess what, everybody? And you're like, oh.
Maybe that's why he was wailing. Who knows?
So
when did the wailing start? That's what I would want to know.
That was episode 1. Episode 2, the family is sitting Shiva. Sam's family arrives an hour late. Everybody thought that was weird. Where were they in that hour? Nobody knows. again, this is after the announcement
Yes.
at the synagogue or wherever they were that, it was now a murder. The family goes into the room together, and Josh and Sandee, the parents, like, they liked Sam.
Mm-hmm.
So they're saying to him, like, dude, you got to watch. Like, they're going to be looking at you. They work from the inside out. We know this. Like, closest person to you, to Ellen. So Melissa, the property manager, she's a nervous wreck now because she's like, oh, fuck, I had the apartment cleaned. Like, what's going to happen? So they've lost the crime scene. It's gone. Psh, gone. Ron Plesko's a cyber investigator and attorney, and he says we needed those electronic devices, but they were taken out by Sam Goldberg's uncle, Jamie Schwartzman, a prominent Philadelphia attorney. So I don't think he was a judge at the time. I think he was a judge later, or now is a judge. And he eventually did turn it over to the police when this was ruled a homicide, but the chain of command was broken.
Yeah.
Or chain of custody, or whatever they call it. We meet Stephanie Farr from the Philadelphia Inquirer, and she says the police, and this is another thing, Tess, the press is always the hero here too. Because you realize the power of a free press when you see these murder cases.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think Stephanie Farr she's the reporter that kept it the whole way.
Yep.
And she was the one that was willing to keep fighting, really.
Yeah. Yep. So she says the police told her they ruled it a suicide for a couple reasons. Number one, Sam had stayed and was cooperative. So he didn't seem like a murderer. Okay. Because what does a murderer seem like?
Yeah.
Like, is he just, I don't know, air stabbing people and screaming in a rage? Is that how you would spot the murderer?
Yeah. No. Again, this is always the problem, is that we look at everything from this place of like, this is how I perceive it. This is how I think you should be.
The big one was the door was locked from the inside and no signs of forced entry. And I'm like, well, I mean, except for Sam kicking it down.
Well, did he? That was the other thing too. How did he eventually get in? Because he kicked it down, and
he did kick it down.
Okay, because those look like some big doors. And how did he kicked it in? So if that's a pretty powerful, those latches are pretty powerful.
But here's my question. How do we know that latch was across?
Yeah, that's the other thing too. We have no idea. We don't know.
We're only taking his word for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't even ask about my YouTube search history, because I spent about 40 to 50 minutes last night just trying to figure out, can you slam the door in a way that the lock will lock itself? Yes, you can. And I think that if the lock was across, the latch was across, that Sam had learned, probably the hard way, probably by accident, that if you do close the door too hard, it locks, and then used that at this time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I thought that too. Like, when he left, did he slam it really shut, knowing like, but why wouldn't Mark tell us? You know what I mean? Like, well, then he slammed the door, a bunch of times.
Who knows what the fuck Mark's doing? He's useless. You needed one of our listeners, a couch detective in that apartment next door. They would have had every detail of the entire story.
Yes, yes. But that is true. We have this is all Sam's word, if it was locked, because we don't know. We have no idea.
We don't know. And this is what I think about when I lay in bed at night. Okay. I'm thinking to myself, well, I mean, it's a pretty big gamble. Did he know that the doorman would, because the doorman would be the only one to verify, yes, the latch was across, right?
Yes. So if he went up there with him.
But did he know the doorman couldn't leave?
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Did he want the door? What did he want the doorman to do? Like knock
I don't
down?
know.
Because the doorman, because it's not about having a key, because if it's the latch, it's got nothing to do with that.
Right. So that makes it feel like you talked to the doorman because he had his phone. The doorman didn't need to call her.
Yeah.
That tells me you were trying to establish a motive.
That's or maybe like a little bit of a timeline, or a little bit of a like, okay, now he'll know that I didn't know how to get back in, so let me go downstairs and go back up. Yeah.
I'm telling you, don't put me on a jury, because I get an idea in my head and bink. So the cops talked to the press about this case, which was weird. So now March 10th, suddenly the medical examiner changes this back to suicide. Okay. So everything's over, right? And we get a lot of scenes with her students and her friends and family talking about her. There is this really, I'm always interested in, and this is probably a sick part of me, but I'm always so fascinated by how people grieve. And her mom, Sandee, talks about, she's talking to the cousin. She's like, do you remember when I would come over and lay on the floor in the sun by the dog and just cry? And I was like, oh my God, that's so sad. It was so sad. So sad. So Sandee says, it took me a while to regroup and put Humpty Dumpty back together again, but I'm here now to sort this the fuck out. Like she was ready for battle.
Yeah.
Now we meet Tom Brennan. He's fantastic too. He is a retired Pennsylvania State Police officer, and he met the Greenbergs through a mutual friend. And he's like, I'm going to work on this for you, and it is free of charge. Like, I'm going to help you with this. And he told them, Philly is a tough city for justice, and you're going to have to fight. And the parents are like, okay, bring it on. And he looked at these autopsy photos. Like, he took everything the Greenbergs had, which was the autopsy photo, photographs of her, and photographs of the scene. He's like, in 2 seconds, he was like, this was a murder. There's no doubt. All right. So he says that one of the things that led him to believe it was murder is in the crime scene photos, she has dried and coagulated blood on her face. And he says the body was found sitting up, so the blood should have like run down, but it was run off to the sides, like her body was moved. Like, so she was laying down when the blood was pouring out and congealing. But I think we heard him say on the 911 call, she's on her back.
Yes. And that's why it's so weird when he confirms that her, the 911 operator asks, is she breathing? So he has to look at her chest. There's many times where he's got to look at her. And and he doesn't say, no, she's on her stomach or anything.
Right. Like she was
weird.
Propped up in a sitting position against a corner cabinet. Yeah. That's not on your back. Yes. Unless he misunderstood.
And again, that's the whole point of, how hard it is.
You're in a hysterical state of mind. Okay. Now this really disturbed me. There was bruising on her body in various stages of healing.
Yes.
Was Sam abusive? The friends are wondering. We don't know.
And we're not getting into this. We are not talking about this. Like the friend, nobody is talking about like Ellen said. So I could believe maybe Ellen said nothing to anyone about if things were bad or if he would grab her really hard or,
Right. Yeah. So she was on 2 medications. She was on Klonopin. Do they still prescribe Klonopin?
Not so much anymore.
I don't think so,
because it's so addictive. Like the people that I know that are prescribed it, I mean, they have it's really severe, and it's like one of those things where you're not supposed to take it that much. But no, they don't really prescribe it that much anymore. All of those meds, Klonopin, Ativan, Xanax, it's hard to get your hands on them these days.
I remember when I was dating someone who was prescribed Klonopin, like they were told it can cause suicidal ideation. Like that's one of the side effects. So, that's worth thinking about. And she was also on Ambien, which they said maybe could have caused bleeding. And then she also told her psychiatrist 3 times that there was no physical abuse and smiled when Sam was mentioned. So this is this weird part where we have this woman, Annie McCormick. She's a reporter with the local ABC station. And she's kind of acting as a counterpoint here to everything that Tom is saying. And it's annoying. Like I wanted to hear Tom say his thing and then maybe she goes through and does her thing. But like intersplicing them felt like, okay, well, I guess I wanted the documentary to have more of a point of view.
Yes. That's a good way of putting it.
I felt like it didn't have it at all. And I was kind of like, okay.
Well, that's right. So either are you going to do something like this new Kanye or Ye documentary that's coming out that literally is just a camera on Kanye and his life and, you interpret it however you want.
Yeah.
There's those kinds of documentaries. But these kinds of documentaries, they do have a point of view. Like there is a side. You are taking and so that's what's so annoying about it is you do have a side, but sometimes it's there and then other times it's not.
Yeah. Good point.
I
will not be watching the Ye documentary. I just want to go on record and say that. Okay. So Guy D'Andrea now in 2015, he's working in the DA's office and Tom somehow gets this case in front of Guy. And he digs the file out of a closet, which he says he found in a decoration closet, which to be fair, like it wasn't a homicide file. So they didn't have to keep it in a certain place. And he gets the ME's file, the DA's file, the homicide file, and he builds a file from all of this. And Tom and Guy meet and they get access to the 911 call, which we already heard. Tom and Guy, they're like the dream team here. And they're like, this is the wildest 911 call we've ever heard. And Annie says, again, the counterweight, well, you can pick that apart, but witnesses did say that Sam was hysterical. So maybe he's acting hysterically. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we get this. Okay, let's look into the relationship. That's where I thought it was going. That's my heading for this part. No, we didn't get a lot at all. We get friends say there was a change when they started dating. Things seemed to center around Sam. She was very tight-lipped about their wedding plans, which was weird. But here's something. Towards the end, she was not wearing her engagement ring.
Yes. And that's when you're newly engaged and you're at that stage, you're always wearing that ring. I mean, I haven't worn a ring in like 5 or 6 years, but I'm 20 years in. Like, I mean, you're always, that is odd.
And at first I was like, okay, if she's teaching in an inner city school, she might feel weird about like this huge piece of bling on her finger, blah, blah. She's teaching first graders.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to say anything or care. Right. So like, I'm trying to figure out, I'm not saying that, the school's dangerous or anything. I know nothing about it, but I'm just trying to figure out like, why would a young woman take it off? Could be for safety reasons. Could be for, I don't know, did she lose weight and it didn't fit her right or something like that? And that is what she told friends, that it was like kind of spinning around a little bit on her finger.
Okay.
But Sam's the one who says she didn't wear it to school.
Oh, that she never wears it to school.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the friends at school said, we noticed she wasn't wearing it towards the end. So she had to wear it sometime.
Yeah. Okay.
Annie McCormick again says, Sam said she never talked about hurting herself, but she would start asking him things like, would you still love me if I were crazy? Okay.
Can I also say something about the Ambien and Klonopin aren't really treating anything? I just want to say that, like, Ambien's going to help you sleep. Klonopin is going to, in the moment, help you relax, because that's what it's there for. But she's not taking any, like
anti-anxiety meds.
There's no anti-anxiety, no antidepressants, no SSRIs.
Right.
Is there therapy? Is there anything like just giving someone Ambien and Klonopin, which are 2 depressants? Like, that's not really a plan.
Right. Like the person I know who got Klonopin prescribed was having severe panic disorder. So when they were having a panic attack,
exactly,
that would calm them down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So they get the press involved. So, now we have Stephanie Farr involved again from the Inquirer, and she interviews the Greenbergs and she gets all the shit they have. Now, where is Sam through all this? Well, he stays in touch a little bit, but mom and dad were always kind of like, Sam, we know this was not a suicide. Like they're kind of taunting him a little bit. So he stops calling, surprise, surprise, and fades off into the bushes. Josh Shapiro is involved.
Yes.
Governor.
Little did we know, like very, some politics here. Yes.
I know. I was telling my mother about it because she loves Josh Shapiro. I'm like,
really?
Mom, not a good look for Josh Shapiro, just so you know. Just a warning, trigger warning. He is in the Attorney General's office at the time. He is the Attorney General at the time. His office reviews the case. Stephanie Farr gets an interview with 2 of the investigators, and they tell her, again, the door was locked from the inside and lack of defensive wounds on Ellen. This is the big thing. And when we see those crime scene photos, we see knives in the sink. We see blueberries on the counter. We see, like, I felt, Tess, honestly, like I could imagine her like hunched over the counter doing something, cleaning fruit, doing something, and he comes up behind her. And if he stabs her from behind or hits her from behind, there's not going to be defensive wounds.
Yes.
If he knocks her out or disables her in some way.
Well, yeah, that's one thing that I was wondering about was maybe you were about to say this. They mentioned that it looked like she had been choked, like that she had been,
Yeah.
because I guess there was bruising around, but you couldn't really see it. And so that's what I was wondering. I'm like, maybe this is something like they got into some kind of fight. This is how a lot of their fights kind of turn out to be. He starts choking her, she passes out, and he maybe worries he did something. And so he's like, okay, well, I got to keep going. But the one thing with Sam that I will say is that what he did not have any. Did he have any wounds? We never get to know. And so that's, I want to say, that's interesting because that's weird. I mean, we always know with these stabbing deaths that you always have hand cuts all over your hands and you get stabbed yourself.
that is indicative, yes, of a struggle. But if he knocks her out because she had a blunt force trauma to the back of the head, if he knocked her out, problem solved.
Yeah,
I don't know. They did test the DNA on the knife, and only hers was there.
Yes, and then that was odd. Like, how could he have removed his DNA and not hers?
Yeah. 2019, the Attorney General's office comes back now with their investigation. They say, "Nope, was a suicide." And they say part of what helped them was on her computer, she was searching for methods of committing suicide, quick death, and depression. Now I have a question for you. I don't know if you'll know this. Is stabbing yourself a quick death? It's certainly not a painless one.
Yeah, it's a very weird way of doing it.
That's what I think too.
Again, if this was one of those things where everything was coming at her at once and she makes this choice and decision. And again, I'd also like to say people also, when they commit suicide, they're not going to do it when, I mean, again, I've heard various stories. I had one person who just walked into another room and shot himself, but like there is something about, usually people want to be alone. People don't want to get interrupted. They don't want anyone coming in. So usually it's like you're alone, and it's pretty common with women. It would be a combination of alcohol and meds. Like all she needed to do was drink and take up the rest of that Klonopin. That would do it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so she had access to the right pills. So why pick a knife? And I always think that is very, very odd.
You know what? We need a visit from Detective John Ockman here, who says the simplest explanation is usually the right one. And I mean, it's very simple. Women don't commit suicide this way generally, and women don't stab themselves in the back to commit suicide.
Yes.
That's what I can't get past.
Yeah.
If it was only the knife in the heart, maybe I could get there. But it's all the wound. Like, what is she going like? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you guys are watching the video, she's like, it's just, I couldn't even reach my back to do it. I mean, I have very tiny arms, to be fair, and a large body to get them around. But I couldn't even reach it to do it.
Yeah. Because that's a lot of work. I mean, that's the other thing too, is like, where did she stab first, right? If you're stabbing, you're losing blood, you're losing,
I know. It's awful.
I mean, how do you then get enough together to then go and stab your back? And the other part of it too is that even if Sam wasn't the person, then there might have been someone else. Like, that's the other part of it too. They sort of just threw everything away.
Did anyone look at Mark in apartment 602?
Yeah, we didn't look at anybody. We did not look at anybody.
And I'm saying that kind of in jest, but it's I'm honest here. Like, what about her neighbors who may have saw him leave?
Was she having an affair with someone in the building? That was one of the thoughts I had, was I'm wondering if she's having an affair with someone in the building. And then that person came down because they saw that he left and they got into it and something happened. But again, that person would then have to slam the door enough to latch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stephanie says, well, now they find out that, these searches could have been implanted. There's like a expert who says, if you know what you're doing and if you're well connected, you could get this search history taken care of with timestamps and everything.
And those are also weird things to Google. I just don't think people, I don't know.
Methods of committing suicide. Yeah.
Yes. No one needs to Google methods to commit suicide. What they would want, what you would maybe want to do is what it would be, how much Klonopin do I need to take in order
or
to
at least
suicide?
Painful way, or quick, what I mean? Quickest way, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she did say quick death. But
I just don't.
Something's not adding up here.
Right.
So in 2019, Stephanie publishes her story about this in the Philadelphia Inquirer, and the family's on the front cover. and it's very well read. It goes viral on the internet. And Joe Pedraza, who's a lawyer, he meets up with the Greenbergs. They call him. He's like, "Yep, I saw the story. I can help you with this." And he says the first thing we're going to do is file a lawsuit to change the matter of death to homicide or undetermined.
Mm-hmm.
All right, episode 3. I wrote there's a lot of family stuff in this episode, which, I mean, on some level, I really appreciated it. And I think it needs to stay there, but not as much.
Yeah.
More on Sam.
Yeah.
Less on how her third cousin felt about this. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
No,
I'm with you.
Like,
yeah.
I was totally here for the parents talking about it. I thought that was really fascinating. And especially that part where the friend says she was walking down the street with her family and her child, and she saw Ellen's mother sitting at the picnic table and just burst out into tears. Oh, that got me. I was crying. Yes. I was watching it. Oh.
Well, yeah. I mean, and we don't hear from the parents as much. And that was really painful because you look at them and you go, yeah, you only have this one child. You thought you would be frolicking with your grandchildren at this point.
So devastating. And this, Ellen, I mean, she had everything in front of her. Everything.
Yeah.
So sad. So the Inquirer really helps this case get national and international attention. And the family hopes that this leads to tips. And here's where I wrote, we get an ITM with a coworker who's I work with this dude and a bunch of people are afraid of him. So now the dream team of Guy D'Andrea, Dr. Dupree, Tom, and Sarah Callion, who's the behavioral analysis person, they investigate the case. They go through the whole thing. And they realize the whole timeline is built on Sam. We only have him for all of this information. The only thing that they can tie beyond Sam is that she got gas at 1:26 p.m. They know that.
Yes.
And Guy thinks it's interesting that Ellen is filling her gas tank. And Dr. Dupree says, well, there's a nor'easter coming. And he's like, yeah, but if she was planning on, or I would argue, he didn't say this, but I would argue, if she was in a distraught place, you wouldn't think about stopping and filling your gas tank unless you were on E, which, I mean, I've done many times. Yeah.
Well, and that whole distraught thing I kept going back to that because I would have liked for them to say, she'd been a teacher for a couple of years. Did she hate it from moment one? Or was this just bad within the last couple months? Or did you notice a dip and a slide? That's the stuff that I wanted to know because, I want to know, where is this depression and anxiety? Where is this anxiety coming from? Because where is it coming? Did it just show up? Is this something she struggled with her whole life? And based on everything that they're saying, it sounds like no. It sounds like this was not this ongoing issue and I think Sam, allegedly, I think Sam was physically and verbally abusive and emotionally abusive. And I think he made her feel so insecure and so unsure that this is how it started to come out at work.
I agree with you because there's a text with the emotional abuse part, because there is a text where she's like, I need to leave my job. And he's like, mid-year, Ellie, you're not a quitter.
Yes.
Fuck right off, dude.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what I wanted to know about the money situation. Cause I could understand if he wrote back and was like, really in the middle of the year. I mean, we got the wedding, blah, blah, blah. Can we afford that? Right. That's one thing. Or can we talk about this at home later? But that's the other part of it. If this guy had money and access to money, why are you forcing her to stay at this job? She wasn't happy.
And if she's so emotionally and mentally distraught, as you told the police,
yes,
and she's sending you that text, why would you be like, tough it out, soldier?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Fuck
it makes no sense.
And even her dad, and I know he felt terrible about this, he was like, no, you can't come. She wanted to come home. And he was like, no, I'll make a deal with you. I'll help you find a psychiatrist. And then you have to finish out, or you have to give it out the year or something like that. Did no one see the real crisis she was in? If my 26-year-old child was like, I need to come home. Yes, come home. Come home. No matter what.
I don't know. That this one's hard. I think, right, our generation, it was like, oh, fuck you. You wouldn't even call your parents.
No, they wouldn't even know.
But I do think that is something about the, talking about the generations, that is something about the generations and how what's changed. I don't think the parent and this is the part that is unsure about, like, because if this was a kid that struggled with mental health issues her entire life, I could see him being like, okay, we've been here before. We know what we need to do. This felt very new and foreign. And I could understand where the dad was coming from. Yeah. And I can understand where the dad's coming from, which is like, we don't need to change your whole life. Like, let's just start. And that's, I would say the same thing.
Yeah,
Make a deal.
I should make it very clear that I'm not blaming the dad. He did nothing wrong here. I mean, he did what he thought was best, and hindsight is 2020.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just okay, and maybe my comment was made with the context of I was under the impression people knew she was struggling. And if I knew my kid was struggling and then my kid said, "Can I come home?" I would be like, "Of course, come home." But you're right. If they really didn't maybe know and they just thought, "Okay, she hates her job." Then it's, stick out the job and let's get you some additional support and da 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 da. Yeah, I get that.
And sometimes I think sticking it out and just finishing up the year probably was I think that was the best thing for her, probably. But again, no one really knew what was going, we don't know what's going on. And the other thing is this was all November, December, January.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is 3 months, 3 to 4 months.
And the dad was like, she fought so hard to get that job. And I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence her best friend's father-in-law is the superintendent or principal or whatever. But she probably worked her ass off to get a good position. And okay.
Well, yeah. And just to finish college.
I'm softening my take.
The college to finish her teaching credential to write. You know how hard all this stuff is, especially if your tail end. You're just like, I just want to be done with this already. Yeah.
So they go over the crime scene. They actually go into the apartment. No one has lived there since. And they kind of recreate it and everything. And one of the things the police said is there was no sign of a struggle. But Dr. Dupree points out, like, that doesn't have to mean flipped over coffee tables. Like the knife block was down outside and the knives were scattered in the sink. So there could have been like a fight over the knives. You know what I mean? Something like that. In the autopsy, now this is where they talk about there's a dissection of the strap muscles, which Dr. Dupree says you see in strangulation a lot. Doesn't mean you have to have bruising or fingerprints on it, but there was an issue with these muscles that indicate a hemorrhage, an injury in the neck, and 2 forensic pathologists have concurred that this has happened. Okay, how did the door get locked from the inside? Melissa says, it's rare, but I have slammed the door in a way that the latch goes across. So that could explain that. What's interesting too is that her computer, the last activity is 4:46. He goes to the gym at 4:50. No activity while he's gone. So she must have got right up and did this as soon as he left.
Yeah.
I wrote here, does anyone know if the door was locked for certain? No, we don't know. We don't know. Sam texting her and calling her like crazy, and the texts are not pleasant.
No, they're not. And which is actually, I think, sort of in his favor, because we always know from these murder things where the
Scott Peterson, like, hey, beautiful. I can't get the flowers for Papa today.
Yeah. So, I mean, and we all know, right? What is it? Lamone, what's her name? Sabrina Lamone. That's a great story about the swingers out in.
I don't know that story.
It's like this Silver Lakes. There's like the secrets of Silver Lakes or the something of Silver Lakes. This is a story that they covered it on Dateline all the time. It's a Josh Mankiewicz story. And it's basically about this like, group of people that are down in this like desert area down in the kind of San Joaquin Valley of California. And it turns out that like, they're all just like muscled and tattoos and motorcycles, and they all would like hang out. But apparently they were all swinging also. And then she has an affair with this young kid, and this young kid kills her husband. And this big it was this question of, did she want him to do it or not? How much did they know? There's God and religion is part of it. It's like fascinating.
Gotcha.
So it's a good tale. But she also, same thing too, where she was like, hi, I'm waiting for you. When are you going to be home? And it was a little bit like, how far into marriage are you? And it's late. And it's like, what are you really saying to your partner? Like, where the fuck were you.
Yeah.
You know,
That was, interestingly enough, that was the one thing I believed helped Karen Reed in claiming her innocence. If you remember
yeah.
the voicemail,
yeah.
she was
Yes.
screaming at John O'Keefe and leaving them like, fuck
Yeah.
you, you're a
Yeah.
pervert. Da, da, da. I'm like,
If sh-
they make her look guilty. She would not have left them.
yeah, no. She had run him over and hit
Yeah.
him. She would not
Yeah.
be talking
She'd
about
be
him
like,
that
where are
way.
you, John? Waiting for you to get home.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
these messages, but again, is this Sam being nice? Like, is this Sam's niceness?
Right,
Like, that's
right.
the other
We
part of
don't
it
know.
too.
We don't know. So Sam initially told the investigators he thought maybe she was showering or doing her hair or doing work with headphones on. They also dissect the 911, listen to me, the 911 call
Mhm.
and say it's weird that he didn't notice the knife. Like he really should have noticed that knife.
Yeah.
Sarah Kayleen says behavioral analysis is about stimuli and response. Who is in a position to react by stabbing her? Okay. That really doesn't help us, but okay. Joe Pedraza comes aboard in 2019 and he's here to force the medical examiner to change that ruling. So they filed a lawsuit, and what really helped them was by filing this lawsuit, they were able to get the surveillance tape from the police. And the police department at first was like, what surveillance tape? What are you talking about? And he had to he was like, I want one of you on record then.
Yeah.
To say that you never took it.
Yep.
And suddenly it's like, oh, new surveillance tape, who dis? So they got it. And the key is Sam was alone when he broke down the door. But the medical examiner's report says Sam was escorted and witnessed the breaking down of the door by Phil, the doorman. Doorman's like, I didn't fucking escort this guy anywhere. What are you talking about? That is against protocol. I cannot leave unless it is for emergency services. And what's weird is this fact is not in the police department. So like, how did it get from here to there? So in the homicide detective's report at the scene did not say that Sam was witnessed busting in.
Yes.
But it somehow ends up in the ME's report.
Yes.
And that's the report that Dr. Osborne used to rule it a suicide. So they pull out the good old deposition, which I love a good deposition. I feel like it's the only time you're forced to tell the truth.
This ME, no, they did not prep him enough.
No, and we learned that there was this secret meeting with police. And he went into that meeting thinking it was a homicide, and he came out from that meeting knowing it was a suicide.
Yeah.
So
And no one took notes.
No one took notes. No one remembers what was said.
Yeah.
Nope, nothing. I bet your sister would have gone crazy if she heard this part because it's just so weird.
Yeah.
So in his deposition, Dr. Osborne now admits that he would not have ruled this a suicide if the door being locked and Sam's account of things was in question. All right. Dr. Emery is a neuropathologist who examined the body, and she gives like 3 possibilities for what could have happened in regards to the spinal cord. There's some question as to whether or not it was severed enough.
Yes. I thought this was interesting.
For Ellen to have lost feeling. And she says there's 3 options, and she runs through them. And one of the options is that she stabbed herself after she was already dead, which of course, she's saying someone else did it. Well, Joe Pedraza jumps on that. And that is the part that goes out to the press and puts a lot of pressure. So Osborne decides to side with the family in this, and he settles his part of the lawsuit, and he says, I will change this to a homicide or whatever, and I will testify for you. So eventually how this ends is that the city agrees to settle this lawsuit. It was a conspiracy lawsuit, which I thought was really smart. Joe Pedraza is just suing these motherfuckers into tomorrow. And I love it.
Yes.
And so they have to, as part of this, they agree to reopen the case and to have an independent party examine the autopsy. Since agreeing to this deal on February 3rd, no progress has been made. So guess what Joe Pedraza does? Pulls them all back into court. And I guess the judge flipped out on the city and said, okay, you have a deadline. So now by October 14th, we are going to learn the independent authorities ruling on this case. Governor Shapiro asked about
Yes.
this at a press conference like not too long ago. Is like,
Mhm.
suicide. Sam is married now. He has children. Ellen's family wants nothing to do with him. And Sam declined to be interviewed, but he did issue a statement, Tess,
Mm.
saying like
Yes.
he was bewildered when Ellen took her own life, especially because it physically does not seem possible that she could have
Mm.
done it. I wonder if that, fed into his bewilderment.
Yeah.
And he said mental health is real and it has many victims. And let's
Mhm.
please put the focus there.
Yeah.
So that's where we end. So now we have to figure out who done it.
Yes, yes. Well, and also, did you clock those the messages that I think Sam was sharing? He was messaging someone else in the family, but he was referring to Ellen's parents or Ellen's mother, saying how Ellen's mother should really should move on. And do you remember that?
Yes.
Like she should get over this.
Yes.
This isn't healthy for
Yes.
her to keep doing
Yep.
this and all of that. I was like,
Yep. What a
okay.
peach. What a
Yeah.
peach. To
Yeah.
tell parents how to grieve their child. Yeah. What a
Yes. Yeah.
peach.
Well, you don't even have the balls to say it right to their face.
No.
You're telling someone
No.
else, like, I think
No.
this is how you should be grieving during this time.
Here's my ruling at the end of this. If I'm a juror, I really need that little Law and Order. Ding ding. I'm gonna say I am allegedly 80% confident that Sam did this. 20% confident that somebody else did it. 0% confident that it was a suicide.
Yes. No, I'm with you. It was not a suicide. Does not feel like a suicide. And I'm 90% sure it was Sam, and
Okay.
then maybe some outlier chance that there's someone else in the building, because it had to be someone else in the building.
Yeah.
Right? There's
Yeah.
no one else could have done it or been there.
Right.
But the thing with Sam is, even though I allegedly do believe he did this, unfortunately, because everything was cleaned up, I don't know how much evidence you really have. And again, there's this question of, was just incompetence from moment one, and then it was like, oh, Sam's family influenced it, or was it like from moment one, oh crap, we need to this guy's got a lot of power, we're gonna go along with their story. I mean, and then that's the other part of it too, is like, how incompetent are the police? Like, are you that incompetent, or are you that corrupt? Because you're one of the two.
Yeah. With Sandra Birchmore, what it took to break that case to turn it into a murder case was a woman. The woman the Stoughton police chief, she's a woman, I forget her name. McMahon, maybe? I forget. But she was like, no. This isn't right. I'm investigating these officers who did that. Like she was on this, that something wasn't right. We see that a lot with women in law enforcement.
Yeah.
They're like, no, something's not right here. And I don't know. I just think, I don't know what it's going to take, but that's a really good point to bring up. Is I don't know how they build a case against this guy. There's literally, there is physical evidence in terms of the wounds, but like, good luck. You're not going to find,
because no one was there to witness whether or not it was latched or not. We don't know if it, so we have no way to verify that. There's so many things that we just don't know. We have no idea.
First, you would have to figure out motive. There's no motive here. So what is his motive if he killed her?
I think that he's an abusive person. And
so like a crime of passion?
I think that she could have, this is again, my guess would be that if someone who went from being a pretty steady person to like super anxious in a moment in time, it's got to be something that's going on. And I just don't believe, I believe that it was the slow roll of him being more and more abusive. And I could believe that they got into it. They got into it with each other, or she said something, or she was like, no, I don't want to marry you, or I'm so anxious, or whatever it is. And either he got angry and hit her and was like, okay, I got to finish this out. I could see that happening. I could see him being just, if he's an abusive person, I think and you're hitting and hurting this person, isn't it relatively easy to kind of just, oh crap, keep going?
I wonder too if I'm assuming there has been, and it just didn't show anything, but I wonder, was there a toxicology report?
Yeah, that
Like,
would have
was
been
there
nice
a
to
lot of
know.
Klonopin in her system? Could he have fed her something and then,
Mhm.
taken advantage of her in that weakened state. I don't know.
Because if she was if sh and if there was a bunch of Klonopin in her system and Ambien in her system, then maybe I could see her being like, "This isn't wo this is he's gonna come back, it's not working, I'm gonna grab a
Yeah.
knife." Again, I just think
Yeah.
that's a huge it's just a huge, huge stretch. And
Yeah.
again, I'm not saying that women can't do it, but
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't believe it. And in your back, that's just why complicate things? Usually people do, you're going to do your
Yep.
wrists or,
Yep.
your neck. Like no one does that. That's
Yeah.
so weird.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Strange.
Yeah.
And I feel like since you are a therapist and I am very into mental health as well, we should say now, if you are struggling with suicidal thoughts, please
Mhm.
text or call 988
Yes.
suicide hotline. You'll get support
Mhm.
24/7 in
Yes.
whatever way you need it. So it is a good time to remind everybody of that.
And I always tell people, you do not need to be acutely like, I'm going to hurt myself right now. You can call if you're like, I'm feeling low, I'm feeling depressed, I'm
Mhm.
having ideation, I'm having thoughts, but I don't have a plan or I'm not going to do anything. You could also call if you have a friend that you're worried about. Like my friend is making these comments. They're a great
Mhm.
resource. You can call for other people.
Mhm.
So I think a lot of times people feel like you have to be acutely struggling with something. It's like, no, it's a resource. There are
Yeah.
people there and I've worked on these lines and trust me, I think I had to call the police or 911 on like 2 callers in the
Yeah.
entire
Yeah.
year of all the calls I took.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. It's a good point.
most people are looking for support and help and it's a good and it's a free resource for help.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's a really good point. In the end, this woman needs justice and this family deserves justice. And
Yes.
maybe that just I don't know what that looks like for them. Maybe it is just it being declared a homicide and then hoping that they can somehow build a circumstantial case against him.
Yeah, I
But
know.
it's a good start if they get it ruled a homicide. That's a good start.
Yeah. I think these things I always ask myself like what would I want? And I understand that desire and drive for justice and for to knowing what really happened and all of that. But I do also think like I do wonder like does it keeps you a bit stuck.
Yeah.
Like and this is they've already suffered enough. So I also don't blame people for being like I'm just going to move forward with my life.
That's why you hear a lot of parents whose children are missing. They're like, if we just knew she was dead or he was
Yeah.
dead, like it would be an answer. We don't
Yes.
want it, but it would be
Yes.
something, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Well, Tess, thank you for joining me
Yeah,
to solve this one.
this was quite a case.
I feel like
Yes,
we went on a journey there together.
we did. Now I have more questions than answers. I'm just like, and I don't like these. I like to have the answers at the end. I like to know what happens at the end.
Yeah, I'm going to do a deep dive on this because there's a
All
lot
right.
more that I really want to talk about. Tell everyone what you're doing over on Psych Legal Pop with your sister.
Yes. Yes. So, yes, I have a podcast with my sister called Psych Legal Pop. We talk about popular culture through the lens of an attorney and therapist. I'm the therapist, she's the attorney. So we're, Sister Wives is back, season 20.
Is it
Um,
ever, baby?
oh yeah, enjoying Cody on Special Forces.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
really enjoying that.
Mm-hmm.
And
You
getting
do a
back
lot of
into
documentaries too over there, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, these days we're actually focusing on Sister Wives and Seeking Sister
Oh,
Wives and
right.
Love is
Yes.
Blind and we're trying to figure it out. There's
It's a
so much
lot.
happening and we just have we have very limited bandwidth, so we have to pick and choose. So a lot of Sister Wives, but we have a huge back catalog. If you just go check us out, you can download some of our old
Mhm.
shows. We've covered tons of documentaries and shows, and so go check us out there.
Yeah, and
For
you do a lot of pop culture and true crime stuff on your Patreon too.
Yes,
So,
yes. So
yeah.
yeah, check out our Patreon. We're covering Christine's book. It's exclusively on our Patreon.
Yes.
So if you're interested in if you're a big Sister Wives fan, but yeah, we do and we have things that are exclusive for just our Patreon. We do true crimes that aren't, released anywhere else and we just released our weekly recap. So, if you're interested in hot topics, that kind of thing. That's
Yeah.
what we do on the Patreon.
All right, highly recommend, guys. That's Psych Legal Pop. Link will be in the show notes.
Thank you.
And if you want to support Murder She Watched, please head over to Patreon or click subscribe on Apple Podcasts if you're listening there, and you get bonus content, including Becca and I doing the staircase, which has been amazing. And
Now, what episode are you on now?
we just finished the documentary, And then this week, so this is gonna so the Netflix documentary, The
Yeah.
Staircase, is 13 episodes.
Yes, yes.
And
So
then
you
there's
just
the
finished that.
yeah,
Okay.
and then there's the series,
Oh, the
which
series
is
is
scripted,
great.
which we're going
Yes,
into.
yes, the
Mhm.
Toni Collette. Yeah, that's very well done and really interesting. Yeah.
And by the time you guys hear this, it will be coming out tomorrow. We're doing a crossover with Corey and Carly about the owl theory.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So we have that. So that's all behind our paywall on Murder Club. Please join us there. And if you like reality TV, check out Little Miss Recap.
Yes.
Over there. All right, guys. Thank you so much, Tess. Thank you again.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next
Bye.
time.